the author of life. And I cannot tell someone to go and destroy life. That I am, but go ahead.
Well, you said, well, y'all are still people because, we've been labeled domestic terrorists and white supremacists.
Right.
So basically, obviously we're still people. So you made that kind of an odd little statement. It kind of got my attention a little bit. So, this is what we're labeled because, we're the most dangerous people in the country right now, as you can tell. Don't we really look dangerous?
I'm so scared. I'm shaking in my boots. But you are not. You are people and you matter. And that is what is wrong with people. We're not coming to the table and having these types of conversations.
Exactly.
We can all sit down. We may not always agree on certain things. And that's okay. But we can all sit down and talk about the fundamental things that we can agree on, where we can make some compromises and we can build a better America together.
And stop that propaganda.
Yes. What was that tough question you had?
You touched on it a little bit, but
Okay.
I wanted you to expand. I don't have kids, but a lot of people here do, and school education is something that, well, quite frankly, it screwed me up. So I want to know, you mentioned about doing better stuff in school. Expand on what your thought is on it.
Of course. So right now, we have 2 schools that are in my Super Ward and Super Ward 7 that are underfunded and underserved. That's Campus Stella STEM Academy, and then also St. Helena. That is in 2 of the lowest income districts in our city. We need to invest in our children. They are our greatest asset. If you invest in a stock, you want to see that stock, you buy low and sell high. Am I correct? That's the same thing you want to do with our children. We need to make sure we strategically invest in our children. That means we need to pay teachers good wages, but we need to make sure we have education policies in place that will teach them what is correct and what is wrong. That is why we're having the gun violence we're having in our city, because we're not teaching our children. We're not making sure that we're investing in those programs and our youth that we should have. So I am for better schools. I want to see every school in our city count and every student matters.
Okay, so I'm going to step it up one notch higher.
Okay.
Because you didn't get to what I want you to get to, the
Okay.
elephant in the room.
What's that?
Critical race theory.
So critical race theory. Oh, that's a very good one, and I was very prepared for this. So critical race theory, this is how I see it. We know how our country was founded, but we know our country has moved on. We have had race reconciliation, and we need to understand we have to move on together. Regardless if you are white, regardless if you are black, Latino, if you are LGBT, we have to move on all together. Many of you have served in this country, and when you have went off to defend our country, they did not look at you if you were white, they did not look at you if you were black, if you were gay, or if you straight. But what they saw is they saw that you were American, and that was the threat that they saw. And so that is what we have to do. We have to get back to teaching the American values, that we are all equal in the eyes of God. And that is what we need to stand up for. Like what the young woman said in the back, who's going to come save us when we've been the captain hero to the rest of the world? And that's what we have to be. I stand to make sure that this is America and we stay that way. And that's where I stand on that. I hope that answers your question. All right, awesome. Miss Bryant.
So I can't let you understand that either.
That's perfectly fine.
You live in this, you are the Super Ward, you're running for Super Ward 7, and
Yes.
I beg to differ with you, but you have a lot of more schools than just 2.
Correct.
So I want to know what you're going to do for the Norfolk Public Schools, not just the 2 that in your opinion are underfunded or underserved or what, because I have news for you. Every Norfolk public school in Norfolk is underserved, period. Regardless of where they're located, regardless of the demographics, our children are underserved grossly
Yes.
by the city council and the school board and the Department of Education for Virginia. So my question to you is, what are you going to do for the Norfolk Public School System, period?
Council, we need to have a better working relationship with our school board. Our school board has had a lot of dysfunction in the past. We have to work on and get back to it being a student-centered focus and getting back to strategically investing in our students. That should be our priority, Ms. Bryant. At the end of the day, it should be our students and making sure that they are getting the education that they need. We're not teaching them to a test, but we're teaching them the life skills to prepare them for a better tomorrow. That's what I would like to see. Right now, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that the school budget for the city of Norfolk is about $484 million for the city of Norfolk. Is that enough? No, that is definitely not enough to make sure that every child is not left behind and to make sure that every child is getting a good quality education. But I believe that we can do better, and I would want to work with my city council and definitely holding the school board accountable that we invest in our children. And if the school board can't do it, then we make sure that we have other people there to elect them out and have somebody who will have a more centered student approach to education.
So when they approach you with a ridiculous request